everybody. Welcome back to Pull Up A Stump. Now, we all know that Pull Up A Stump is like the best podcast ever, so we needed the best co-host ever. And recently, I was driving and my girlfriend Riot, right here, gave me a call on the phone. And we talked on the phone for like, I don't know, it was like an hour and a half somehow because I had shitty reception. And we were talking on the phone, and after that phone call, now before Riot called me on the phone, I was listening to a podcast that I love listening to. And in that, it's two girls that are talking, they like shoot shit with each other. And I was like, man, I love this podcast. Like, I want that to Pull Up A Stump. And then I don't know if you, Riot, or if anybody here believes in like that, I don't know, what's it called? Like divine timing or something. Yeah. All of a sudden, my podcast disappeared on my surround in my car, and up came Riot's voice, and we had like an hour and a half long conversation of just like shooting the shit, like the good old days. So after that, I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Like, even if we had recorded that conversation, it would have been a wicked podcast. Like, we were just like shooting the shit. It was so good. And so after that, I sent Riot a text, and I was like, yo, can you give me a shout? I have like a business-ish proposition. She ignored me because I'm pretty sure she thought I was talking about an MLM.
COVID. Slow the roll here.
Yeah. Excuses. No, she ignored me. And then finally I got her to call me. And I was like, yeah, like, you want to be a co-host? Like, let's go 50-50 on this thing. So here we are. Pull Up A Stump is now Pull Up A Stump with Cassie Pittman and Riot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to use your full name, middle name, whatever, but
Riot Nicole.
Fun
the dynamic
fact.
duo has returned. We'll get into that. We'll explain that.
Exactly. And actually, fun fact about Riot and I, we have the same middle name.
We do.
It's spelled, she has an extra letter in hers, but we have the same middle name. But yeah, so now you have this beautiful face to watch as well. And you better get ready, because when I picked Riot to pitch being my co-host, I think that's what it would be called, right? Co-host, partner, I don't know.
Partner in crime.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, okay, when I was thinking about rebranding Pull Up A Stump, I was like, we gotta be smart about this. We can't just bring anybody else on. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, after our phone call, I was like, wow, like, we have the exact same, very similar anyway, sense of humor. We both are pretty outspoken. We both have very loud opinions about everything. Riot's
and no filter.
Riot got her nickname for a reason. She's a fucking riot. So I was like, perfect.
Like the party, like the rebellion, the whole 9 yards.
The rebellion. Yeah. It's actually really funny because I am watching Outlander, and now so good. The rebellion just like means so much more to me now that I watched that show.
Yeah, it does.
Now I like know what it is, you know? Before I was high school dropout, okay? I don't really know much about
Before you were kind of like rebellion, right? We don't want to do what someone's asking us to do. Got it.
Oh, so everything I've done in my life thus far. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be Pull Up A Stump from now on. I'm freaking pumped about it. You guys are in for a treat. So I think we should start off by telling all of our beautiful listeners how the heck we met and how we have the nickname the Dynamic Duo. We'll get there. Like, we'll circle back to there, or we'll circle back. Actually, that was the right word.
We'll go around the Kumbaya circle.
So let's open this up to letting people know how this all came about.
So I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. March of 20.
Hair school.
March.
It was March. That's weird.
My birthday.
Hair school. It was our orientation day. And I seen Cassie, and Cassie seen me, and I looked at her and was like, that bitch. I'm going to compete with her through this entire course. If there's anyone who is going to be better than me, I'm hoping it's her, but at the same time, I don't because I want to be better than her.
And you were. And you were.
We were equal, 100% equal. We
We
were
were pretty.
competitive equally together against everybody else because once we like, everyone was screwed.
Once we joined forces, the
Just
rest was.
phone home.
The rest was screwed.
We were. I'm pretty
No,
sure students left our class because of us.
not naming any names, but I remember who you're talking about.
Oh, it's still on my Facebook. I'm like, oh, you, right. Cool. Welcome.
That one. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually, because you know how that like memory pops up on Facebook here and there, well, every year, that like our orientation picture.
Oh, yeah, when we all took like the group photo and we look one terrified and two really, really young.
I was just gonna say that. Like, I look at that
Yeah,
picture and I'm like, man, we were babies. Like,
we look tiny.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
like so innocent. And then I look at
And
us
my
now, it's
my
like,
hair
man,
was so healthy.
that is the one thing about hair school. I remember when we joined hair school, I think it was like day or week one, whatever. And our
Yeah.
instructor, I used to really like her back then. Our instructor was like, I remember, or I think it was her anyway, said something about like by the end of hair school, like you're gonna have no hair. And we're like, no, like your hair was beautiful and long and like healthy. My hair was long,
Long and
healthy-ish.
dark and healthy.
Yeah. And
Yep.
then what graduation of hair school, I had a frizzly, dead, blonde, chin length bob.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then
it looked good from afar,
from
but
afar,
like up
yeah. And
close,
if you
it
didn't touch
was
it,
a hot ass mess. You didn't touch it or move because it was like Nazi hair. Or we could show pictures and maybe one day we'll work up the guts to show you. I had like the side shaved off of my head, like,
that I
little
used
half
to
slice.
shave.
Yeah. But then my hair was so over processed blonde that I only had this side and I'm wearing a graduation cap and I look like I still look at these pictures to this day with all my family. They came to my graduation. We're all taking like family photos. Everybody's there and I'm like,
Oh man,
why?
what
And
did we
all I
do?
wanted was I just wanted ash blonde hair for graduation.
I mean, you were ashy
I was
ish.
not assy. I was a golden ass yellow that Brad Mondo would have punched me for.
Brand
100,
Mondo. Oh
100%. Yeah, I'm bringing him into this.
my.
But yeah, now we've come a long way. This is my
Yeah.
Cruella moment. But yeah, the days of over processing hair were left in hair school for sure. Thank God.
Mine were not. I had some moments over the last, what is it, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So like 5 years that I have fried the shit out of my hair as well. That is why
Go through some hair things. Oh yeah.
that's why this is not mine, right? There's my real hair. There
You
it
just
is.
gotta grow those little babies back out.
I know. It's because
This
I
is
had
my hair.
my, yeah, look how healthy it is.
Uh, it took a long time growing all of the color out of my hair. The only
What,
pieces that are colored now are these little pieces right here.
well,
But all of
and
this is au naturel Riot.
And if you knew Riot back in the day, as much as you may think that this is some funky hair, you don't know Riot. Back in the day, she was like fucking purple. You had the red. And when you had the side shave, I remember we bleached the shaved part and then the rest was like Merlot red. Like,
Oh
we used to,
yeah.
yeah. One time, oh my God. Talking about the
I
side
went to
shave.
school. Look, I went to school as David Bowie, and I had the lightning bolt that he had
Oh,
across his face
yeah.
in the side of my platinum blonde shaved side. Oh yeah. And
I,
then Jesus, I think Jesus, yeah, he gave me the mohawk. I looked sick. It was
oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Mhm.
I remember I got to tell the story about frick. I got like a hair in my nose or
That's a
something. I got
pick
to tell
away.
this. I got. I'm itching, not picking. I got to tell the story of when I was shaving your head and you fell asleep.
Mhm.
so, so
Those were
yeah.
good
So
days.
back in the day, right? Like we just said, I used to shave Riot's side shave all the time,
Yeah, my
and
undercut.
yeah, one day I was sitting there and I always had to like Sharpie in or like dry erase in the design because I'm
When
just
you
not
used to
art.
draw my head with markers, that's right.
Mhm.
Oh my
And I
god.
was sitting there with my little peanut razor, shaving my design into Riot's head, and she's got her head tilted so that I could work on the one side. And then all of a sudden, Riot's head just fucking gave out, and she had fallen asleep. And luckily, I caught her head. But yeah, she literally fell asleep while I was shaving her head. It
Oh
was
yeah, totally would have went like face forward out of that chair, off the counter. I wonder
broken
if we should have just let
nose.
it happen.
I mean, I think we have enough stories to tell. We don't need to add in a broken nose.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So yeah. So
Needless to
go
say, high school was a blast. Would I
hair
go back
school.
and do it over again? Only if you were there.
Oh, I was a straight fuck no on that one. But if you were there, maybe. Right, but
I
no,
would only go back if you were there. But if someone told me that I had to, like, I don't know, for whatever crazy reason in the world, I would be like, nope,
no, I'm good.
I'll be
I
self taught. Thank you.
we'll just watch Brad Mondo. I still remember the like first time like meeting you, and because when you started hair school, right, we were like in our classroom for a few weeks before you go down on the floor. And I remember we were all like in our little tables and that. And I remember looking at you and like, you're new, like just like back in the day in normal school, right? You like scope it out and see who's who. And I remember like I think you were sitting kind of like a few people down but slightly across from me. And I was looking at you and like I'm not gonna say I'm tatted up, but I've got a few. And then I saw you and you have a few. And I
Yeah.
was like, I think that's my people. And I just remember looking at you being like, I think I'm going to befriend that girl. Like, like I hope I can, but she's terrifying to me. I remember looking at you and being like, this girl looks like she could legitimately like decapitate me with just her eyeballs. Like
Yeah.
Riot was terrifying. Like just her presence. Like if you are ever in a room with Riot, you will immediately just feel her presence, and she is a fucking force to be reckoned with. And we were in that classroom. I'm already scared shitless because, okay, again, like I kind of said earlier, I think in we were recording, I dropped out of high school. So I hadn't been in high school since I was like 16. I hadn't been in any school since I was like 16. And then here I am, 25, I think 20, what's that? I don't know, 25. And I'm like already scared shitless to be in school. No idea what I'm doing. I kind of joined hair school on a whim. And then there's this chick that just looks like she could eat me alive. And I'm like, oh man, but I totally wanted to be your friend. And then, yeah, we kind of just like developed a pretty quick, really like friendship after that.
I think like each day during that first unit class, like our chairs slowly migrated like closer together. So like
Yeah.
we were from here to like here, and then we were like same side. But
Yeah.
we definitely bonded over the fact that we were both tattooed. And
Yeah.
then we realized that we're both really funny and we're neither one of us are as scary as we thought we were to each other. But I've heard that so many times in my life that I'm super intimidating looking or I'm like overconfident and it makes people intimidated by me. And I'm like, man, I'm just a girl living in the world.
I talking about that, I saw a TikTok today, right before when we were like waiting to get this going. And this girl was
Oh,
talking this that was a fucking journey. This girl was talking about like people used to be like, oh, you're so intimidating, like just your presence and whatever, and how she used to die herself, like dwindle herself down a little bit to like meet people at that level so she wasn't so like intimidating. But then she kind of put a spin on it and I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense. So she like said that basically when someone calls you intimidating, it's because like it's not you, it's the level that you're at. And so they think they find you intimidating because they're down here and they can't get up here. And you're already up here. So it's like it's the level, like they can't meet you at the level that you're at. And so that, because I think when you're an intimidating person, especially as a woman, like when you're an intimidating woman, it's a whole thing. It's not just like the
Oh
way
yeah.
you walk, right? It's the aura, it's the personality, it's the how you present yourself, it's how you speak, it's all these things, your energy. And so I think what, like that kind of made a lot of sense, right? Like people are not just affected, they're not intimidated by the way you walked in the room. They're intimidated by the way the entire energy in that room's changed when you walked in it. And then,
Yes. Oh
stop
yeah.
dwindling yourself down for people like that, because those people are going to do nothing for your life, right? Like they're they're going to just kind of drag you down. So you don't really want to like bring those people into your life any more than
Yeah.
like as an acquaintance.
I think part of the point of it too, when you are kind of on that level and you walk into a room and there's people different, there's no balance. But as even an instructor and an educator, I learned with my students, I didn't come down to their level. I brought them to mine. And it was kind of a difficult process, but also a simple one. And it was just about trusting your own confidence. Women do not trust their own confidence because they don't, I don't want to say like they don't believe in it, but it's
We're
almost
not
kind of like they've
allowed
been
to
told
believe in it.
we're not allowed to. So, as an educator, I didn't change anything about how I enter a room or how I talk to a group of people. I just talk to them like I've been talking to them for the last 3 years. And I told them, like, I will bring you out of that shell by the time this class is finished. And all of my students that I have been blessed to have up until now, um, I still have all of their contact information. I still talk to quite a bit of them on a regular basis because they ask me things all the time. And they all still have my phone number. And they're like, you really did teach us not to be afraid of confidence.
I love that.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
probably like the best thing that anybody has ever said to me.
100%.
So that's what I plan on doing even here. Like if you're afraid of being confident in something that you're good at and you're telling yourself that you're not, welcome.
Welcome.
Right, we'll fix you.
We are going to break that barrier. We are going
Oh
to,
yeah.
yeah. No, I think yeah, like that's another reason why you were such a great, like, I'm so happy. Like, I feel so grateful that you said yes. Like, I remember when we had that phone call and I was like, I'm scared you were going to say no. Because
I was in the parking lot of Walmart screaming. I'm like,
but I legitimately was so scared that you were going to say no, because in my mind, there was no one else. Like, I was like, I don't know. Like after that phone call, I was just like, that's who I need to have. Like that is who Pull Up a Stump needs to be. Like because when I created or like started Pull Up a Stump, I was like, I want to talk about things that people don't talk about. And I want to share
you know what?
opinions that like, I mean, I have tons of opinions. So like I want to, I want to just make people feel comfortable. I want people to listen to my podcast and leave that episode being like, either they had a really good laugh and they haven't laughed in a long time, or they learned something, or they freaking like uncovered something about themselves and
Yeah.
they like realized, or they didn't feel alone anymore. Those were like the main goals of Pull Up a Stump. And so after I spoke to you, our conversation was hilarious, but also I was just like, that's Riot. Like, so I'm so happy that I'm
Even if someone can listen to this while they're, coloring their hair, cleaning their house, doesn't matter what it is. If you can take something away from, this outlet or this conversation or, this like kumbaya circle that we're creating here with Pull Up a Stump, that's the
Bye.
only thing that comes to my mind. I see like a fire pit in my mind and we're all just hanging out on tree stumps. It's great. But
Pull Up a Stump,
if
man.
you take something from it and you're like, you know what, I'm going to try and instill that into my own life, my own daily routine, because that sounds really awesome, then I feel like it's a job well done. And I feel like we're Cassie and I, in this like larger than life personality that we both share equally, are destined to like share it with other people who maybe are, like afraid to use theirs or have been told that they can't, or even for people who have gone through, some pretty traumatic situations and just don't know how to come back from that. Like that sounds really heavy, and we're going to be like heavy and funny and ridiculous and all of those things. But I just want people to know that, yeah, they're not alone. And you can be unapologetically 100% who you want to be.
Love it.
There's no conformity here.
Which is conformity.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Goodness, I should have filled up my water bottle before.
Very flavor Red Bull.
Dry throat.
11 o'clock at night. Winning.
Man, now my eyes all watery. Oh man, that one's really bugging me. I think let's let's talking about comedic relief. I think let's tell some funny stories that we have, because Riot and I, we were like, so basically, okay, to give you a bit of a timeline here. Riot and I, hair school's what, 14 months, I think it was? 14, 15 months?
Something like that, yeah.
And
I think we spent a little extra time that we didn't have to spend.
A little bit. So when we started hair school, I was living at home, and like fucking 5 months or like 4 months or something in, my home life blew up. It was real bad. It was real bad. And
it was toxic.
It was super toxic. That is basically when the beginning of the last falling out with my mom happened. Like that was kind of when shit started to hit the fan. And so then my mom left me on a freaking sidewalk, basically, and I called Riot, and then I moved in with Riot for a lot.
I pulled up with my little Mazda. Little dark blue, or was it gray? I don't know. Mazda. It was gray.
And I packed up my 2 suitcases that I had, and I went and lived in Riot's kids' toy room on a fucking futon.
Toy room, like there was a bed in there. Don't worry.
Yeah. It was a futon, and it was fine. It was comfy. But and that's where that was. So Riot and I actually lived together for some time. Went through a lot of shit in that time, and then so we were together. Like we had one of those friendships that were like fast and furious, and then I kind of, to be honest, I tore us up. Like, let's be fucking real here. I tore us up at the end of our friendship, because at the end of our friendship,
living together, the end of hair school, really
was because I was just like going through some major shit. Like I was really dealing not well with my mom's situation, and then I was dating someone who I was madly in love with. Like I don't think I've ever actually thought that I could get married to someone, even to this day. Like marriage scared. I don't think I'm a marriage person. But I was like, I would have married him, and I was so in love with him, and that relationship was falling apart. And in that, and then I just felt like I felt so worthless, for lack of it, sleeping on my best friend's futon in her fucking kids' toy room. I didn't have a car. Like I didn't have anything to my name. I was just like, I just felt like a bag of dicks all the time. And I was really, really depressed. And in that, I started, drinking, and we all know my fucking history with that one. And it was just really bad. And then we stopped living together. We don't need to get into the actual blow up, but we stopped living together. And then no, it wasn't a blow up. It was more like a breakup.
We just parted ways somewhat quietly, because I don't remember ever telling you to leave or anything like that. I just remember being shocked about like the drinking because I had no idea.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
remember I was because I used to because where we went to hair school was in one city, and then that guy that I was just talking about, he lived in a city that was like an hour and a half away from where we were. And
yeah.
so a lot of the time on the weekends, I would go out to his house and spend the night or like spend the weekend with my partner. And I just remember the one weekend, it was like you could feel the tension between Riot and I, and we were in two different cities. And then I remember I like it was basically through a text, from what I can remember, that it was like, yeah, I don't think this is working anymore, kind of thing. And then I came and like got my stuff, and that was
So
kind of
he
that.
transferred to Red Deer. That's right.
Was trying not to say the cities. I was
Uh-huh.
That's fine. Yeah, so I transferred to a different hair school because I still had like a month and a half or 2 months left in hair school, and to like finish up all the credits or whatever. And then I transferred to the hair school in Red Deer. It was a fucking shit show. That was the worst. It was terrible. That's when my drinking really picked up too. And yeah, and then my partner and I ended up splitting up, and then I ended up moving back to where I live now, actually, that I lived there previously. Had my daughter and whatever. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, back circling back, Riot and I had a very, very close friendship for a long time because we literally went to school all day together and then we lived together all night. Like we were very rarely apart. Probably
No,
hence why we won the award that we did at the end of. We won a dynamic duo award at our
they made
graduation.
this one up. Yeah,
Yeah,
they made up that award. It was so cute.
it
We had
was
no idea.
no
We were sitting at the table, and then I believe it was Joe who actually um,
presented it.
presented that award because he was the one who came up with it.
It's
And
awesome.
we were sitting there, and he's like, and the Dynamic Duo Award goes to Riot and Cassie. And we were like,
What?
what?
I thought it
So
was
we went up
over.
and, yeah, everything else was done. And then all of a sudden, these extra ones were coming out. And we were like, sweet. Like, what does that get us? Nothing. But like,
No.
it was super cute. It was like probably the best award that I got out of that whole situation. I
Yeah.
mean, like diploma, fantastic, but like
Yay.
dynamic duo award with your best friend, yeah, that meant something different.
It was so fun. It was awesome. Like,
Yep.
yeah, so we had a lot of time together to have a lot of stories of our
Yes, we
hilarious
do.
times.
But now I feel like we're older, and now the dynamic duo coming back together is different because we've gone through so much individually
Oh,
that where we're at now, like that dynamic duo coming back together can only do so much good.
I like even like I was thinking about this today when I was like thinking about what we should talk about, and I was like, I feel like I've lived like 8 lifetimes since we were in hair school.
Yeah.
We have been like you just said, individually, you and I have been through so much in the last what is it, 2019? Wait, yeah,
Oh,
20. So it was the beginning of 2018. So 2018,
been 6
2019.
years. 6 years, my dear.
So then I wasn't 25. No, because I had Quinn at 25.
Yeah.
So I was like 23, 24. I don't know, something like that. I'm like, fuck, how old am I? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we've been through a lot since that
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That what we can dig into, but how about we like you want to lead with a funny story from our past?
Oh my God.
What's
Um,
your when you think about like our friendship? What's like one of the ones that sticks out
your freaking laugh.
to you? No way.
Did you hear it? Yes. When we were in hair school, it didn't matter where we were on the floor, and we were always like our stations were side by side, and it was
Always.
always by the window. And trust those unit girls, they knew. They were like, "Oh, that's Cassie and Riot's spot. Don't sit there. You're not
Yeah.
allowed." And
And
then I
like
remember
we
battling with a student over my station, and she would purposely show up like I don't know half an hour early just so she could take my station. And me and Cass were like, two can play that game.
You want to fucking go?
So we'd be at school at like 8:30 in the morning, stalking the door, waiting for the back door to actually like unlock it so we could get in. And then we go and put our stuff at the station. There's no one else there. Like the lights are still off. But I'm like, bitch, that's my station and you will go away. Oh yeah, that was funny. But no, and Cassie's laugh, it didn't matter like who was on the floor. If she was laughing, like that was probably the funniest part of my day all day, every day, because everyone would just stop and be like,
do you
what?
remember when our one classmate called me out for my laugh?
Yes. Oh my goodness. And
Could
not in
you
the
not?
greatest way.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to do that every single time?
Yeah. That's just my laugh, bitch. Like,
You're
sorry.
like, I can't really control it. It's kind of like a spasm. Somewhat like, if I like walked over and just had a spasm there for a
Sorry
second.
you haven't laughed in 20 years, but this is mine. And
No. And for some reason, everyone was like, you're the quiet one. I'm like, no.
out of our duo, you were the quiet one?
Oh, no. I was
No, like
definitely
that's
not the
what
quiet
people
one.
said. Like, is that what
Yeah.
you were getting at? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, she's the loud laughing one. I'm just loud in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can project for days. So, yeah, you'll know we're here. But
Yeah.
anytime Cassie would laugh, I'm telling you, like, it was just the whole salon would either laugh with her or like stop dead in their tracks and be like, wait for it. And everyone would just continue on curling and blow drying like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I think everybody knew where I was with my laugh or with those boots that I wore.
The clicky boots that
The clicky
were
boots.
like the bottom needed to be replaced.
And I was so
Yep.
poor and broke because I was a student.
Student
And then,
life.
yeah, it was terrible. I was so poor and broke that I couldn't afford to buy new boots. So my broken ass boots, because, okay, there were these boots from this, I don't know if you are, where we live, there's a store called Spring. And there were these like spring boots that were like pleather, went over the knee, and the heel was like, like maybe an inch and a half heel. But it was clear plastic. And at some point, the like plug, I
The
guess,
rubber bottom.
yeah, like the plug on the bottom of the boot fell off. So in hair school or in our building, all the floors are obviously not carpet. And so all you could hear is
Yeah,
everywhere
click
I
clack,
was going.
click clack, click clack, click clack, click clack.
And those were like
Do
the
you
only
remember
shoes
when
I
you
freaking
thought?
owned.
Do you remember when you thought that one of your legs was skinnier than the other because one of the boats wouldn't stay up?
I didn't think I know. One of my legs is skinnier than the other.
You were so like perturbed by this. You were like, need to do leg day because this is bugging me. And it was only ever the one boot, and you constantly hiking that thing up, Matt. Constantly. Like, I'm just gonna tape it to your leg.
That was so annoying. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What else? Oh my gosh, like I could think of them for days. The spider in the car. So Cassie and I are both equally 100% arachnophobia,
Yeah.
like you would
100%.
not believe.
Yeah.
And like we will burn the house down. Okay, if this thing darts behind the couch, we're burning the house down.
Mm-hmm.
So we're driving, and I'm taking Cassie. This was before she moved in with me. So this was like maybe the first like 2 months of school. We were still kind of like navigating one another at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And we're driving down the street, and all of a sudden Cassie goes to roll her window down because we're cool and we were smoking. But she rolls the window down, and at the same time, this little white spider, and when I say little, I mean like minuscule, size of my nail, like this thing drops from the window. It's dangling in the wind, but the wind is coming in the car, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" And we start screaming. We're at a red light. I'm halfway out my door. If it were open, I would be out the door. She's halfway in the driver's seat, and people next to us at this red light are staring at us like we are absolutely off our rockers. Like these two need help. That's what they were saying. And not like in a, I'm going to give you help. They need like help. So I'm like, roll the window back up. But what if it's on the inside? It's probably going to be on the inside. So she rolls the window back up, and sure as junk, the damn spider's on the inside of the car. And what do we have to defend ourselves, ladies and gentlemen? A pen.
I forgot about that.
No, didn't take like the cigarette pack or the cell phone and just squish it. No.
A
We're literally
ballpoint
attacking this
pen.
thing with a ballpoint pen that I found in like the ashes of the little like spot in the console of my car. Like this pen probably hasn't worked for decades. But still stabbing the window with this pen. And I'm like, I don't think it's working. And then eventually, yeah, we got the spider to get out of the damn car. And oh man, just
Oh,
absolutely hilarious.
I just had another.
Terrible.
I just had another story pop in my head about bugs in
I
your
know which
fucking Mazda.
I know which one you're thinking about right
Oh,
now. I swear to God.
I
Gravy?
yes. Okay, so freaking okay. One day I was going through some shit, and we didn't go to school this day. And
No,
Riot was it right?
we didn't go to school that day. We
Yeah,
played
that's what I'm
hooky.
saying. We didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Riot came and picked me up because this before I had moved in with her too. I'm
Mm.
pretty sure. Anyway, we went to A&W and we bought food or whatever, and we're sitting in Riot's car in the parking lot eating our food. And I had bought gravy and fries, among other things, and we had the windows down and we're sitting there eating fucking gravy fries and this watching YouTube if I can remember. And all of a sudden, this wasp flew into the car, and you think I'm bad with spiders? I'm even worse with wasps. And I straight up somehow, with the gravy still in my hand, opened gravy, but like bowl in my hand, somehow managed to get my seatbelt off, undo the seatbelt, get out of the seatbelt, open the door, jump out of the vehicle, all
And
without
run.
and run, all without spilling a drop of gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pure
Meanwhile,
talent.
my fries are on the floor. My burgers and peaches on my seat. I'm standing outside the car, and this girl's like, "Did you get the wasp?" No, did you? This wasp is
Oh man.
outside of the car. And again, if people were around us, and I don't think there was, we were just chilling in the parking lot.
Well, because it was
But if
like
people
10 in
were
the
around,
morning.
you'd be like, "These two again. I need
it
help."
it was on the same road that the spider thing happened.
Whoa. I don't even like going down that road anymore because it's just like the bugs attack. The bugs will
PTSD.
attack on this road. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
Love how I remember. I was thinking of the same story. Like that was perfect.
that
This is
I.
how me and Cassie work, and this is why we're such a duo.
Mhm.
So this like singing is gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so good. I hope that you guys are
Yeah.
getting some good freaking laughs so far.
Well, this is kind of like, our introduction of like who we are,
Yeah,
how we met,
yeah.
all of our craziness. Like you should have seen us studying for our exams.
Oh,
Like it was there was not a single like college, if that's what we'll call our post secondary hair school experience. Uh,
it makes me feel better
a
about myself.
college
Okay, it's college.
when I think of like college experiences, I think of like the movies where they're like at keg parties and there's dorms. Like we don't have that here really in Canada. We have dorms and it kind of can be like that, but I've never experienced it.
No, me neither.
And so we made sure that like our studying experiences of being college students were 100% authentic. Like we had gross food, but was like delicious food, but gross. Our books up until like 2, 3 in the morning, stressing about, is the curl on base, off base, half off base, or concave?
I haven't heard these words in so long.
Oh, it's so bad because even still now, like where I work, when we have apprentices come in, like I prepare them for their apprenticeship exam.
Mm.
So all of these terminology is still so vivid in my mind, and we don't use any of it.
Not in the real life.
No,
No.
you'll never have a client walk in the door and be like, "Hi, yes, can I please have some graduated increased layers? You want a straight cut or you want a pixie? Or sorry, wolf cut,
Oh God.
butterfly cut? I don't know. Excuse me." But yeah, so I still have all these like vivid memories of all this terminology. And I remember sitting on the couch for hours and we would be like eating food and our thing was garlic fingers
You
and
got to
pink sauce.
explain what garlic fingers are if people don't know what they are.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so garlic fingers is like an East Coast situation.
East Coast
Um,
Canada.
yeah, so like Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, PEI, those places. Mainly Nova Scotia, I think. That's just me. But so it's basically like a pizza, and instead of it being cut in triangles, it's cut in strips, and it's just a whack ton of garlic butter and cheese baked, and then they give you sweet sauce. Now it's not sweet sauce from your donair shop where it's like white and then it disappears after 5 minutes. This is like a container or a bowl of like the thickest, sweetest sauce ever. And you have artificial bacon bits on top. So like those gross pink bacon bits that you get in the little shaker from the Walmart.
That are just salty as all hell.
Yeah. I think I'm good now.
Right, still recovering from COVID.
No, the cough will never go away.
Yeah.
So we would sit there and we would order like a large between the two of us.
And when
And
they
pizza,
large is like
huge.
huge, like
You could probably feed
it's
5 people with this thing. Like,
like
yeah, like a
extend your arms
massive.
out, and it was like that big.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
And it was just the two of us, and we ate the whole damn thing. I don't feel any guilt about it.
No.
And we did this multiple times for multiple exams, let me tell you.
It
But
was the
that was
key to our
like,
success.
it was. Because if it wasn't for those garlic fingers, like keeping us focused, I really don't think like we would have done as well as we did. Like we both had like honor roll marks. We were like,
First
what'd
time
you
in my
get?
life.
I was like, yo, I got a 95. What'd you get? And she's like, oh, I got a 96. And I'm like, bitch, you beat me.
Very few times did that happen.
Because she ate more garlic fingers than I did.
Seriously, just goes
That's
straight to the brain, and
that's what happened.
it fuels the hair intelligence.
The garlic, the butter, or the fact that it was a copious amount of carbohydrates that no one should eat in a single sitting, but it worked. So if you're having study issues, may I recommend you some garlic fingers? No, it's not cheesy bread because if you go to like the east coast of Canada, Nova Scotia, and you ask them for cheesy bread, they will look at you like you have 12 heads. They are garlic fingers.
And they're
Cheesy bread is
so.
like a Western Canada thing, but it's kind of the same concept, but not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
so
But now
good.
I want garlic fingers. Like, what have you done?
And we don't even have a place here that would be able to, like, you still live down the freaking street. Not actually, but like down the street from that place.
That place closed. Yeah, they opened up in a different location, mind you.
Oh,
So they're still there, but it's a bit different. They like rebranded, which is fine. But
well,
maybe
that
I'll go
place
and
was
buy
like,
you one, freeze it, and I'll send it to you.
oh gosh, yeah.
Hey,
Or you
man.
could just freeze it and then make a little summer vacation and come up and
I could
bring
do
them.
that. Yep. Yep. I haven't been to BC. No, that's a lie. I was in Invermere last year.
I guess that is PC, yeah.
It was a good time. But no. Oh yeah. Study tip: garlic fingers.
100%. With all
Mhm.
the sweet sauce.
All day, every day.
Yeah. I'm
Like,
pretty
and this
sure,
is it's gross. It's so gross.
like, just
But it
thinking
works.
about eating that right now, I'm like, God, I would not move for like a week.
No, it was the best college experience ever. I felt like a real frat boy.
Yeah.
Like you need to have that moment. I still have those. Like Cass tonight, she's like, "What are you gonna have for dinner?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then my son was like, "I want like," he was like, "What do you want?" He's like, "Hmm." I was like, "How about Burger King?" And Cassie's like, "No, if you're gonna have a burger, you need Dairy Queen." And I was like, "Oh God." So my son's like, "Sure," because he's built on chicken strips and French fries. And so I go and I'm eating what I shouldn't be eating
What did you
as
end up
per
eating?
mission. I had chicken strips, but they
Okay.
were like buffalo tossed chicken
Oh yeah,
strips. They're
never mind. I
amazing.
heard you order. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But then I look at your Instagram and you're like barbecuing like pork chops and like broccolini, whatever the long ones are. And I'm like, wow. Like, look at your dinner,
It was
asshole.
really good.
Yeah, this is why you need to teach me how to like meal prep. So I stop eating Dairy Queen with my 11-year-old
I silly
because I do not have the same metabolism as my 11-year-old. Although I work more and I'm awake more and I'm on the go more than he is, he's skinnier than me.
I think most of our kids are.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how because again, I'll reiterate here, he's built on chicken nuggets or chicken strips. Nuggets are for little kids.
Yeah. And he's in the
Hmm.
double digits now. So we've graduated from nuggets to strips.
The preteen nightmares.
Ugh.
That's going to be a whole episode all by itself because I just need to talk about
Okay.
it.
We can do that. And I'll get some tips for what's coming for me because both mine are too young right now.
Oh, you have no idea. But I mean, like, boy wise, it's easier, guaranteed. Girl wise, terrified. I would be terrified. I couldn't do it. Nope.
I'm not only terrified of just Quinn herself and her sassy little personality, I'm also terrified by who she is influenced during those times on the other side of the other half of her life. And I'm like,
I'm gonna
that's
take a long sip of my juice.
that one's gonna be fun. But yeah, so that's that. So we're not well, that's a whole other episode too.
I'll like segue along here, but
Mhm.
it's nice that we're already thinking up different ideas and topics for our next episode.
I told you this one's gonna be a life-changing podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
if you could have experienced what we went through just to get this podcast tonight to actually roll, oh my goodness.
oh my
From
goodness.
one person's microphone not working to one person's camera not working. And I think we've already found the person who's going to edit our videos. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing that we're going to outsource it because it's cheaper.
Much cheaper.
My IT man lives here. He's somewhere up in that direction.
Perfect, because yeah,
Yeah.
given the trials and tribulations we had just getting this thing going, I don't think I'm techie enough to edit this shit.
But you know what? I want to be techie enough to edit it and
I
be
mean,
like, I can do it myself.
yeah, I
But
mean,
that's because I'm an independent female and I feel bad for the men in my life because I'm like, I don't need you to do that. I can do that. It might
100%.
take me 16 days, but I can do it.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why we bonded so well, because our our right down to like our personality traits are very similar. Like
Oh, yeah.
I'm a very independent, and I've only gotten more independent. Like I'm such an independent person, and I'm just like very headstrong and whatever. And you're the same way. And
Hmm.
I think too, that's what I was gonna say earlier. I think like when we were in the classroom together, like I mean, I'm not trying to sound. Neither of us are like rude people, but like I'm not trying to sound rude, but how do I say this? No one in our class was like on the same that sounds weird. I was gonna say like on the same level as us, but like not necessarily academically. I'm referring to like just us, like in our personalities and like the type of people we were. Like everybody else in our class was kind of like timid and shy and like scared to like step out for themselves, and kind of
Oh,
like a
yeah.
little bit like nerdy and like all this. And then there was just Riot and I, these like tatted up, outspoken, like
Crazy ladies.
crazy ladies. And we were just like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like we got along with everybody in the class, but it was kind of
mostly.
like person per person.
Yeah,
Yeah, except for that one.
yeah.
That one. And then there was two guys that we were like, hmm.
And now every single time I listen to an Adele song, I always think of the one guy. I can't remember the older brother's name.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Every because
If I
that
could say names on here, I would.
yeah,
And
we're
I mean,
not
I'm
gonna.
sure eventually we won't probably do like names.
No,
So for the sake of it, we'll call him Adam.
sure.
Okay. I mean, his name does start with an A, so we'll just go with that. But yeah, he was funny, and Adele was like,
What was
he
his?
wanted to marry this
Oh,
chick.
I think I just remembered his name.
Yes, you do. You do, you do.
5 letters, right?
Yep. And then brother's name starts with a J.
Yeah. Oh, I remember
Yeah.
the other one.
Oh, you couldn't forget him for like a
Yeah.
million years.
And I mean, I don't
If they
forget the other
ever
one.
watch this, they're gonna know exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't. Very traditional name.
All good things. All good things.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of.
yeah.
I had kind of the reputation in hair school, like when we got down to the salon, of being kind of like people knew I was there. They could feel it. They could sense it.
I said that earlier.
And
You walk into a room and like the whole energy shifts when Riot walks in.
mhm. My problem is I've always had to remember, like, it's one thing to be like confident and like exhume that and like just let it like fly. But some people can handle it and some people can't, especially when it
Mm.
comes to honesty, right? So you
Mm.
kind of have to like pay attention to how much honesty you can give a person, or the way that you deliver it, I should say, is better, right? But when it came to the salon floor, like, we took this seriously. This was a business. It was like our job. We have towels to wash, we have towels to fold, things to clean, things to wash. Like, it's not just, oh, I did half of a perm wrap, I'm going to sit on my phone for 45 minutes. And it used to drive me crazy. So I would walk around with the laundry basket and I would gather up everyone's towels, their stations. Oh, thanks, right? You're so awesome. Yeah, I know. I would take this basket and I would drop it in front of Adam, because he'd be the only one on his phone, not doing anything, not taking clients, not doing mannequin work. And I was like, you're not getting away with this. I refuse. I don't know why, but it just, I made it my business. Okay. And I would drop this in front of him and I would say, okay, it's your turn to do the laundry. And he's like, well, why me? I said, because you're the only one sitting on their phone. And then I physically had to take him to the laundry room and show him how to do everything. And I was like, boy,
I don't think that that was a like a personal thing to him. I think that was more culturally.
probably.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they don't.
like looking back at it in retrospect, but still, like,
No, not
you're,
like the late, not like the not doing anything part, but the fact that he didn't even understand how to use a washing machine. Like that's just, I think, culturally not their gig.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's not part of their daily routine.
yeah.
100%.
So he was
So
like,
like,
"What?"
yeah, like, why me? And I'm like, you're the only one sitting on your phone. You're the only one bugging me with your phone. And the fact that I've done 5 perm wraps on this mannequin that I want to throw out the window,
On the perm wraps, man.
and you have done none, we have a problem. Like, you need to like shit or get off the pot, dude. Yes, that is an actual phrase. Might be a Canadian only. Don't really know where you're listening from, but my mom used to say that all the time when we were kids, or pull up your socks.
Pull
I
up your
preferred
socks,
shit
yeah.
or get off the pot. Don't know why. I still do. I say it to my 11-year-old, and he still looks at me just like I looked at my mom, like she was absolutely insane. But this is how Adam looked at me as well. And eventually he caught on. So then he would go and disappear to use his phone, so I couldn't see him.
And I think
But
too. Sorry,
he was never on the floor. That's why he was never ever on the floor.
hiding from Riot.
Oh yeah.
I think too, like because when you're that okay, obviously I've never been to any other sort of like college, post secondary, anything like that. But one thing about hair school is like this odd spot where you literally have people that are like they just graduated high school yesterday, and then you have people that are like in their 50s and everywhere in between. And so there was a
Yeah.
lot of people there that like weren't moms, weren't adults, like technically adults, but like not adults. And so Riot is, like she's not one of the older ones, but she's a mom. Like, you're how old was Mason
Yeah.
during school? Like 5?
Uh, yes.
Sorry, did I not
Yeah. He would have been 5 literally as I started.
did I just
Because
do
6
you not want
years,
me to
he's
use his
11.
name? Do we have to cut that out?
Who, Mason? Oh,
Okay,
no.
okay, okay.
He has a YouTube channel too. Go follow him.
Okay, so so there was all these people like, and once you become a mom, and now I can speak to this, once you become a mom, like everything about you changes, right? Like your persona and everything. And so she's seen all these like people, you're seeing all these people like dragging their ass doing nothing. And I think like your mom's side kicked in where you're like, chores, bitch. Like, get up
Yeah.
and do your.
Like, motherfucker, I want to do that.
Seriously, you're like, I
But I
haven't sat
can't
down in
because the
5 years.
dynamic of who you are changes.
Yeah.
You're no longer that like lazy teenager where you're like, oh, laundry, like you can't do it anymore. As soon as you have kids, you're like, okay, so I've got to do this, this, and this, that, and that, all before 10, and then I've got to go here at 11, 12 o'clock to 1. I've got like it's just everything goes mental.
Yeah.
And so when you see like younger people or even people who are relatively close in age as you that don't have kids and they're just kind of like,
Still shooting the shit.
yeah, you're just like, I miss that independence, or not even independence. I miss that freedom.
Freedom. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think one of the things about, I think one of the parts about my knee is so itchy right now, sorry, but is about our friendship that like changed the game for me in like my own personal life. Okay, before I met Riot, okay, I was like, I mean, yeah,
I'm just kidding.
no, I was like, I was kind of sheltered in the like in the sex department. Like I was like very vanilla. Okay, I was very vanilla, and
That's a good way of explaining it.
I would, yeah, very vanilla. And I didn't really know anything about, like, you know, you watch it and this and that. And, you know, you tried a few things with that partner I was talking about because we were together for ages. We basically tried everything together. But then Riot opened my eyes to this whole other side. We just were talking about it. Like, we were just like shooting the shit one day. I don't know. It's like something you do with your girlfriends, talking about like, um, you know, things that tickle your pickle. And we just ended, actually no, I think also we watched 50 Shades of Grey, and it got us like just on the topic of like kind of gnarlier sex, and Riot had all the answers, and I was like so opened up to it. Like I'm like, I remember sitting there being like, so
Oh,
what,
yeah.
that goes, this does what, that goes where? And I, like, she was just so educated, and I'm just like, you've really done your research on this, you know? And I'm just like, after that, I honestly think my whole perception of that side of things, like, to even just know about it, right? Like, and I'm not like, don't think that I'm saying that like Riot goes out there and does crazy shit. Like, you just know about certain things, whatever. And freaking
Yeah.
after that, I was like, what? Like, it's like somebody, you know, like knows, I don't know, knows a shit ton about dogs.
Mind
Like, we just have a
blown.
whole different thing, right? And I was like, oh my God. And I honestly think that that has like, it really helped me. Like, it really helped me because I think, and like, I mean, we'll dig into this too, but like, there's something to say about somebody who makes you feel comfortable about like topics that you're kind of scared to talk about, you know? And like, that was a scary topic for
Yeah.
me. Like, it was terrifying. I'm like,
It's like the
what?
topics that hide under the rug that everyone kind of just like keeps under there.
Because
And I'm
Kay,
like, put that on the table.
well, because Kay, I think how it also started was I opened up to you about like when I watch porn, like I watch either girl on girl, or because I mean, I don't know, girl on girl is just like, it feels more real than like the watching some dude like pound this girl to shit, and I'm like, I know that doesn't feel good. But then when,
The only thing in my mind when I see that is I'm like, that's not a real sound. No one makes sounds like that.
or Kate,
So
or when porn people like, they're like getting fucking grazed like lightly like a feather, and she's like, oh, and you're just like, okay, calm down. So we were, anyways, so we were talking about it, and I said, yeah, when I watch porn, like I watch either girl on girl, or I watch like some crazier stuff, like tying people up
yeah,
and whatever. And so then we watched 50 Shades Grey and opened up the conversation. And I just remember after that conversation, like not feeling so weird about having those interests.
yeah.
And like, it's carried on to this day. Like, I'm just, you know, like, it's just
Porn
like,
and everything has like such an unrealistic.
Depiction.
Yeah, like when you watch it, it's super unrealistic, but then you expect that in your life. And anybody who
100%.
watches porn will say the same thing. You're like, well, why can't we do it like they did it? Like, how come I don't sound like she does? How come he doesn't feel like I don't get it? Like, she's going crazy, and I mean, like, y'all are the same size, but like, I'm kind of over here going, should I put that on the shopping list?
What?
Right?
I
And
you
so
lost me there.
like, I literally think of things like when you watch this, your porn, right?
Okay.
And you're like, I want that in my real life, but then you don't get it, but then you're in the middle of sex. I will literally check out and I'm like, did I put the coffee on the shopping
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. I'm like off in La La
list?
Land.
I start thinking about things that I need to do or
Yeah.
things that I'm like, did I forget to turn off the stove?
Especially if it's like taking a long time. I'm like, okay. I was over this at like the like 5 minute mark. Okay. Now I'm just thinking about like what's for dinner after this, and I got to throw the laundry in. And
You're looking at your Apple Watch going, am I still getting steps in?
oh, those little circles on the health app are closing up.
Goal achieved.
Keep going, babe.
But no, like I've never been afraid, but like when I watch porn, like I check out everything. I don't even care.
Mm.
Like I've gone from like cartoon, which is a little weird,
No,
and I'm like
I've recently dabbled in the cartoon thing, and I'm kind of into it.
in like the hentai situation. I mean, you look for the ones that are like English dubbed at least, because for some reason I need to know what they're saying.
I don't really like the ones that talk. I just need to hear them moaning.
Oh, they all sound like they're dying.
Eh, eh, eh.
When you read the English subtitles, they're all saying no, but then all of a sudden they like, succumb to their uh feelings and everything is right as a rainbow. But I can't handle the sound it makes. So I'm like, mute,
You mute your
and
porn?
I'm just it's like a
Oh.
silent film but with color. And then I read and I'm like, this is fantastic.
It's like a silent film
So
until I make it not silent.
you're like, okay, and we're done. Hold on. But no,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
I mean like girl on girl, and then there's like, what is it? BBC something interracial. I don't know. There's tons,
Oh
and
yeah.
I click on everything, like everything, right down to what was the most recent thing I found. Um, it's mostly in like Czech Republic. I'm probably saying that
What are
wrong
they,
because I'm not
fucking
very
bears
smart.
in the woods?
No, like over like in like Czechoslovakia and stuff, they have actual like um glory hole houses
What the fuck is
where
a
there's
glory
like
hole house?
girls. So there's girls laying on like a platform, but there it's a wall. So like everything is hanging outside the wall. So their legs, their butt, their cooch, and like all of these dudes walk through there like it's an assembly line of McDonald's, and they're picking what they want to eat when they want to eat it. And they walk up, they have themselves a time, and then they leave, and then someone else walks up. But there's like girls that are bent over, standing. There are girls that are laying on a platform in the middle of the wall, and their legs are like up in the air. And then there's chicks that are doing like normal glory hole
Glory hole.
hole where Buddy sticks his penis in the hole and she goes to town, like giving him a blowjob. I mean, first of all,
Against a
kudos
wall?
to the bravery. Oh no, like he goes through the wall and
Yeah,
then
so
she
then
does her
her
thing on the
face
other
is just
side.
like nailing the wall?
Yeah,
Oh man.
yep, and they don't care. Yeah, they do not care. They get like little tags and everything. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Most of the videos are only like 5 minutes long, but I'm like, I want to do that.
You want to do that?
You don't even have to look at the person who's doing it.
Sure, that would be nice. I fucking hate
Like,
eye contact during sex.
yeah,
Not an
that's
eye
creepy.
contact person. No,
No, mm-mm.
no,
So like the missionary situation, no. But
no.
like these girls are laying on a platform. There's like a black blanket that goes like over like her midsection, so she sees nothing. Buddy can reach in there, but she sees nothing. He sees nothing. But there's a convenient picture of what they look like posted right next to their ass. It's fantastic. Like, find it. It's
I'm
like
gonna
Glory
just
Hole House.
let me just 2 seconds here.
You need to get the visual.
I do.
This is how we work.
I do. I do.
But
And if as soon
yeah,
as I
this
put
is
P in my search thing, the first thing that pops up. Oh geez, what the heck is okay. Um I gotta see. I have to know what this is. Oh, it's like a cartoon one. It's all cartoon.
no, we don't want cartoon.
It's all cartoon. All of it. I mean,
So
I get the idea with the cartoon. Oh, jeez, Louise. Okay, never mind. This one's not cartoon.
you see it?
There's only 2 pages. This is not a very popular one on my go-to site.
Well, then your go-to site sucks.
I mean, my go-to site I feel like is just the very common one that just had a documentary made about it.
I must have missed that.
Is what it's on Netflix. Oh my god.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
really just like it's kind of like a gangbang, but without being a gangbang.
That one I have not dabbled in yet.
But it is the most fascinating thing that you're going to see. Like, I'm sure it's going to seem intense at first, but then you'll think about it and you'll be like, well, wait a minute. Like, there's no strings attached. You don't have to see the person. You don't have to know the person. 9 times out of 10, you probably do, but who cares? You're sitting at a house party and you're looking at all the men that are there and you're like, man, what I would do to you. But now you're hanging your ass out of a glory hole. You're probably having sex with that dude at the party that you're like, I wish.
I would just want to make sure if I was a part of something like that, that there was very clear rules about like that getting wrapped up because I can't see that you're doing it. So I can't trust that your little willy's wrapped. And there's no way I'm going through an assembly line of unwrapped wieners.
I feel like there must be some kind of, like pre-screening process in order to even be like given a membership card. You know what I mean?
It's on your key tag right beside your freaking save on card.
The worst part of next to your little gym tag.
Is the
There's
other
just like
workout I do.
guys walk up and there's a little window, and usually it's a little old lady who's sitting in this window, and she's always a senior woman. I swear.
What, like the
Right?
who is this lady?
Like,
Like the ticket taker?
You see the roll of tickets, and it's literally like the same roll that you would buy from the dollar store for like door prizes
Like that you
at like
get
a
for your kids'
community
fair.
center. Yes, exactly. Because they're all doubled. So you take one, I take one. I call your number, you win. Yay. But like he
Oh
pays,
my
he gets a ticket, and then he walks in the building with no ticket, no glory hole fun. Like it's gotta be like the simplest process I've ever seen.
there
We would 100% ruin that. Like it would be teched out the 9 yards.
there is literally a market for anything.
Oh, like I'm like this close to selling my feet online. Like don't even kid
Dude,
me.
I literally created an OnlyFans and then I deleted it. But I was like,
I'm terrified.
I'm gonna do it. Like the lawyer bills were rolling in and I was like, yo, I look pretty good for just banging out a 5-month-old baby. Or I didn't bang out a 5-month-old, he's 5 months old now. But and I'm like, I could do this. And yeah, bought stuff and then I would chicken dough. But seriously, super, super, super tempting. But there's
I know
literally
I'm into the feet thing because I have very cute feet. Like I
you
have
do have
very
very
small,
cute
dainty
feet.
feet, and like all of my toes go down in like proper steps. Like we're not awkward
I
legs
know
going
we
on
have
here.
the same feet. Mine are just about 10 times size, 10 times the size. But yeah,
Yeah.
we do have the
Well, and the
same
worst thing
toes.
is with every child, your feet like grow half
Dude,
an
I'm like a size 10 now.
inch.
It's ridiculous.
Still 7.5,
I used to,
8.
yeah, like I used to be able to do like I remember there was a few times when I lived with you and I had to take the garbage out and I could slip on your shoes and they weren't like absurdly too small. Pretty sure if I put on your shoes now they would go to like my arch.
Probably. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I can still wear 7.5, like in kids. Like I wear kid shoes. Like I buy my shoes off the youth rack. But
Cheaper.
now I find that as a mom and someone who's over the age of 30,
We don't need to age ourselves.
that's as far as I'm going with that. I like the 30s. They're fun. I don't have to care, but that's as far as I'm going. I'm not actually giving you the second digit. But um, I feel like when you stand for 8 to 9 hours a day and you're on the go as much as like a hairstylist, a mom, whatever else you do, your feet swell.
Mhm.
So I have learned I like that half of the extra half size of the 8
To allow for the
because then if my
swell.
feet decide that they want to swell, I'm like, oh, well, I can still fit my shoes and they don't hurt.
Mm.
Win win,
Smart.
right? Like it's just, yeah, it's the best way to be.
Yeah, I'm, and actually, it's funny. I was just talking to somebody about this like 2 days ago, but I was like, the feet thing is tempting because there's nothing really too bad there, except for the fact that I have tattoo on my foot, and I'm just like, if somebody could recognize the foot, if I had no tattoos on my foot, then I would probably 100% sell pictures of my feet. But I'm
Well,
like,
there is makeup to that. Have I taught you nothing?
even just covering up my knuckle tattoos, which are like pretty small, is so hard. I don't think I could like really well cover my like very bold colored large frog on my foot.
Well, that's just the beauty of color correction. You got to choose the right colors before you put foundation on top,
No,
right?
I
But at the same time, I really feel like no one's going to be walking around after receiving pictures of your feet being like, I will find the girl with the frog on her foot.
I
Do you
just
know how
don't.
many girls in the world have the frog on their foot?
True. I just don't want it to end up in the wrong hands because
I, you had to do something. Inflation's a bitch.
inflation is a bitch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I used to love going grocery shopping. That was like my mom outing. It was my freedom. I got to go out for 2 hours to go grocery shopping without the child, without anybody in the house coming with me. And now I can't be bothered to go grocery shopping because one, like, do you know how much food they eat?
Yeah, you have two guys at the house. Like, well, two, like,
Three.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, my dad in the basement. Yeah,
yeah,
he's still down there, I
still
think.
kicking.
No, he was literally just standing here like 2 minutes ago, silent as a jaybird, holding his breath, and he was like, shows me, he goes, like, yes, take a few cigarettes. Go on, get out.
Get
But he was
out.
like, because he didn't want to like breathe heavy or him be heard on like the recording. I'm
Very
like, you're
respectful.
ridiculous. But yeah, totally is. I went through my whole household. I'm like, I don't want to hear a peep, which means no bickering and no like yelling across the hallway at each other. Physically get up and go like address one another in person. That'd be fantastic. Or if you really feel the need to, call each other on the iPad and the iPhone.
There you go. Problem
My
solved.
house is never quiet. This is like the weirdest thing ever. Like we don't do quiet in this house ever. Like Matthew, he could sleep through a Mack truck. Mason could sleep through an
So can
industrial
you
fire alarm.
apparently, or a Marilyn Manson
Speaking of
song.
which, yeah, Marilyn Manson is one of my alarm clocks. And Cassie actually took a Snapchat video, which I still have to this day, and I show everybody. Uh, I of this video, and it's a long video. Like it went on for like probably I don't know 4 or 5 minutes.
Something like that.
And Cassie's sitting in my living room, which is down here, and then my upstairs is over there, and my bedroom is over here at the front of the house. So like I'm far away from where like polar opposite sides of the
On
house
the
on a
opposite
different
side of the
level.
house and a floor up.
And you could hear Marilyn Manson, Beautiful People blaring clear as day, word for word, every single like bass, drum, guitar, whatever was in the song, you could hear it clear as day, like it was in the same room as you. And she's got this caption. She goes, "This is my roommate's alarm. And currently, right now, her and her 6-year-old are sleeping through this together."
Meanwhile, I'm sitting downstairs on the couch because I'm a morning person, and I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch TV,
The
and I'm just like,
worst part about it is the alarm was probably going off at like 10 o'clock.
yeah, yeah, you. And then eventually at like noon, Riot would come down the
Yeah.
stairs.
Yeah, I trickle down because I can now smell coffee because Cassie's made like 2 pots.
2 pots already, yeah. And I'm sitting there like, hey,
Yeah.
what's that? What are we doing today?
And I'm like, I still have the coffee mug that I bought for you specifically because it was like, nope, not
Oh,
yet. Okay, go. It was like, hey, don't talk until I get to the bottom of this glass.
I forgot about
And you
that.
could not contain yourself. So the mug is clear. You can see through it. So that way, when I get to those lines, we're ready.
Right, yeah, I remember that mug.
Still have it. Love that mug. I
Such a
bought it at the dollar store.
dollar store is a shit. I love the dollar store.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's like favorite place to go when you have nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then as an adult, you go like dollar store hunting and you go to different locations in different towns and cities. Like I can't tell you how many times I have taken a road trip through Airdrie and Red Deer and been like, dollar store?
Mm-hmm. And the dollar store in Red Deer is massive. Like the one that's by the gasoline alley, it's massive. And there's so
You could easily get lost in there.
it's so
100%.
there's
It's
so
like an airport.
much. I actually just recently had an experience at that dollar store. That I mean, there's nothing crazy, but when I was moving, then I was moving from Edmonton back to here, and I had to stop there because I had my dog with me, and I realized I freaking forgot his leash, and so I walked in there, just bought a leash off the shelf, and didn't really pay attention to it. And then when our next stop, like out by Banff or something, I was let my dog out. This leash is like 20 feet long. Like it's a fucking lunge line for a horse. But it's like this thin. And I'm like, what did I buy? Like, why? I thought it said like 6 feet on it or something. I don't know. And then, yeah, this thing is like forever. So
Ginormous.
it's his adventure leash for when he needs to be on the leash, but doesn't want to be on the leash. Yeah.
Yeah, he can go real far and feel like he's not on a leash.
Yeah. I was like,
You're playing mind games with the dog.
I'm like, seriously, I'm trying to like feed the kid and like get out of the car, like all this stuff. And then this dog's on this leash and he's like in Timbuktu now. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like it was, but that was the idea.
I love that. There's so many good memories today. I like this.
Oh man, so many. And like, there's so many I want to touch on, but I don't know if we're there.
I don't know. I feel like
at the same time, this is the podcast to do it on. This is the introduction one.
Yeah,
this is all about us.
This is the introduction one. Like, there's supposed to be no filter. Like, feel free. Let your freak flag fly,
Can
man.
I tell it?
I know exactly what you're thinking about because I can see my son standing right here.
Can I?
Holding it in his hand.
It was so good. I was going to segue after our last topic, and then I was like, I don't want to segue without her permission.
I felt like you were going to as soon as you went into the sex topic. I'm like, oh, here comes.
No, I was waiting for it. Do I have your permission?
Yeah,
okay, it was so fucking funny. Okay,
let it loose, man.
This was hands down one of the funniest times I've ever had in my life at somebody's house. Okay, so when Riot and I, like we were talking about earlier, Riot and I used to study together all the time, and I had gone over to your house. First time I'd ever been there. I think that was the first time I ever met Mason too. And yeah, so we're over there and we're like getting ready to study, whatever. And as you can see behind Riot there, her stairs are like kind of see-through. Like she doesn't have the rail.
Yeah, right? This little railing piece
so
right
you
here.
can see through it. We're sitting there. Why am I so leggy right now? We're sitting there on the couch and her son is upstairs tooting around doing something. Keep in mind he's like 6 or something. We're sitting down there on the couch and all of a sudden her son comes tooting down the stairs and he's got a toy in his hand and it is an adult toy. And I'm like, oh, yep. And he's walking down the stairs and he's like, Mommy, like, what is this or something? And I'm just sitting there and I'm staring and I can see it like through the freaking staircase. And I'm like, is that what I freaking think it is? First time I ever at her house. Like, we're still pretty new in our friendship. And yeah, sure shit, her son comes around the little corner there and he holds it up and he's got her adult toy. And I'm just like, oh my God. I have never seen Riot.
It looks like it's like some like 5-foot dildo.
I've never
totally
seen
not.
No, it wasn't. I've never seen Riot move so fast in our entire friendship that she did.
Well, I've never moved off the couch that fast in my life.
She jumped off the couch. What is that? Oh my God. Like, oh my God. It was just hilarious. And after she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't even worry about it. That was
It was literally like a little silver bullet with like the little, remote control.
Oh,
And
I thought
I
it was
flew off
purple.
that couch.
I've
I was,
always remembered purple.
yeah, the remote was purple. The end was like a little silver egg nugget thingy, whatever. But yeah, there was two of them, by the way. One was broken. Um, but I like took it and I'm like, where did you get this? And he was like, oh, it was in your room, in your drawer. And I was like, why were you in my drawer? And he's like, I don't know. And I can't remember what he said to this day. But I was like so embarrassed. But at the same time, I was like, I just have to laugh. I just have to. Because if I literally like, if I read this in my brain as like, I'm embarrassed, oh my gosh, can't believe that just happened, it's going to ruin me and it's going to drive me absolutely bonkers because then I'm going to lay in bed at night going, she's never going to want to be my friend again because my son showed her my toy.
Oh my
Like, is it a lame one? Is she going to think that it's lame? I flew off that couch like Mach speed and I was like, why were you in my drawer?
yeah.
And I still to this day do not remember, but I knew that I was like, she's not going to want to be my friend anymore. That's for sure. She's going to think I'm weird because I mean, who has these things? And whose 6-year-old has access to them? She probably thinks I'm like terrible. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that because if I do that, I'm not going to sleep at night, ADHD, and it's going to drive me crazy. I was like, I'm just going to laugh about this. And now, still to this day, 6 years later, we laugh about it all the goddamn time.
Hilarious. And
And every time I'm at the sex shop and I see the bullet, I'm like,
if anything, that situation made me want to be your friend more. Like it was just so funny. I was like, that is the best freaking thing that could have ever happened tonight.
it was perfect.
Yeah, it was
Because
so
you
so.
like, what do? You have to laugh. You have to.
Well,
No. We're really going to end tonight's podcast on the toy. That's okay.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah. It's like
Like,
11.
so this is how we end our introduction to our new Pull Up A Stump is my child kind of outed me with my sex toy.
It was hilarious. And it was such a good way to end the podcast because that was at the beginning of our friendship. And now, we talked about kind of the in between of our friendship. We're making full circle here. And yeah, now we continue our friendship 2.0 in this new, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I
So
like the fact that we can bounce around, and I'm sure most people are still going to understand where we went and where we were going.
100%. I think that this was,
Welcome.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome for your service. You're welcome for the comedic relief. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
So episodes drop weekly, every Saturday,
Yeah. Every Saturday.
everywhere that
Oh,
you
look
listen.
at that. We did it together like we were in unison.
Every Saturday where you listen to your podcast. Tune in. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So let's give a big round of applause and warm welcome to Riot.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah,
I hope you guys accept me. Like, I really do.
Oh,
I swear, I'm really funny.
of the people that I know that listen to Pull Up a Stump, they're going to love you. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, this is
We're
good.
going to get along just fine.
Yeah, we're all a big fam jam here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Feedback, questions. I love questions. Questions are my
100%.
favorite.
100%.
That's when stories can get really crazy.
Yeah.
And opinions and thoughts.
Well, this was fun. This was awesome. I'm super pumped about this episode, and I can't wait to see where the rest goes.
We're probably going to be driving onto the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart from here. That's exactly where we're going.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time it is where you guys are tuning in. And we will catch you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Nice to meet you all.